Hey, it's Andrew Morgan, host of the Nomcast, the Netflix original movie podcast. Each week, we review the biggest Netflix original movies with special guests from the film industry, the music industry, comedians, and of course, our fellow podcasters. Check us out on the web at nomcastpod.com. Follow us on the socials at nomcastpod. And most importantly, listen and subscribe to us wherever you get podcasts. Hit that beat one time.
Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Dave.
And join us every Thursday for a new episode of Two Player Bros, a podcast about two guys who play way too many video games. Join me and Dave as we talk about the latest in Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and VR news, previews, and reviews. We have it all, and we play it all.
And join us every other week for Post Game, where we play through and dive deep into our favorite modern classics and new releases.
That's Two Player Bros, available every Thursday wherever you get your podcast, part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Boom!
I guess I like sports movies!
Yeah, like real creepy like. Did you notice him with his pants down?
Oh, with his pants down?
Yeah.
I just noticed somebody was there.
Yeah. No, his pants are down.
He's taking it down?
And I'm thinking to myself, I want to do the secret cabal stuff. I don't want to just go and drink.
You still got to wear a cloak and stuff.
No. I want the real cabal stuff. Like I want the stuff where we're controlling the world.
I want the signet ring.
You know what? Screw that.
Hello, I'm Mike Butler.
And I'm Mike Field.
And you're listening to the Forgotten Cinema Podcast. Each episode, we highlight a film that, for a variety of reasons, was forgotten by audiences. Whether it be because a more popular movie was released at the same time, or the film simply didn't catch on with an audience in its initial run. We'll discuss what we love about the movie, or maybe don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit it. If you enjoy our podcast, please feel free to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to this podcast.
Kind of went through that a little fast there, pal.
Sorry, I've got it memorized.
Blowing through
I
that.
say it on Crackling Open.
You
like
memorized
every time.
it?
Mostly, yeah.
Nice. What, you special or something?
I am special.
So, what are we doing today, Mike?
We are doing The Negotiator.
I don't know the score for that.
You want my blood?
All right, enough.
Take my blood.
We'll get to that.
Sorry.
We'll get to that line. Danny Roman is considered the best police hostage negotiator in Chicago. After a friend warns him that someone is embezzling from a disability fund, the person is found dead. Internal Affairs investigator Niebaum, played by J.T. Walsh, discovers the gun used had been handled by Roman. When no one believes his innocence, Roman takes Niebaum hostage, and when Chris Sapien arrives to hear Roman's demands, the two skilled negotiators begin a tense standoff. You know what I can't negotiate? A good synopsis here. This is terrible. This synopsis is, I don't like this. I don't like this, Google. Terrible.
Google.
I don't really reach hard for the synopsis when we do these. We'll get into what really The Negotiator is about. But The Negotiator came out on July 29th, 1998. We're in the 90s.
Woo!
What'd I tell you about that stupid woo?
To keep on doing it?
Yeah. It's 140 minutes long. It's rated R. Production budget of $50 million. Its opening weekend, it did $10 million. Domestic, 44, and then worldwide, 44. I guess it didn't get an international release or didn't do well. I'm surprised, Butler. Everybody that I talked to about this movie likes this movie or has fond memories of this movie.
Yes.
And it didn't do well.
I was also surprised when I saw its take. I was like, really?
Yeah.
It might have done better on home release.
Maybe. I'm not, I mean, spoiler alert, I'm not as high on this movie. I don't hate it, but I'm not as high on this movie as a lot of other people are.
Of course you're not.
Shut up. Just shut up.
One day I'll find a good one.
Well, that day is yet to come. Production company Regency Enterprises, Mandeville Films, New Regency, and Taurus Films, distributed by Warner Brothers. So this has, like I said the release date was the 29th of July, but I think it might have been just kind of like limited on the one Wednesday because then it came out again maybe wide on the 31st because that's the listed one on Box Office Mojo is that it's the 31st that it came out.
That makes more sense.
But IMDb Pro says the 29th. So opening on the 31st, you had The Parent Trap, the Lindsay Lohan The Parent Trap, which is pretty good. Basketball, Ever After, A Cinderella Story. That is the Drew Barrymore one. August 7th, the week after, you had Snake Eyes, the Brian De Palma directed Nicolas Cage star movie, which it's not, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's fantastic, but it's watchable. Like I can sit there and watch Snake Eyes.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I've been watching it a long time.
It's dated. It's definitely like,
Is it?
It definitely feels dated. You also had Halloween H2O 20 years later.
Mm.
Which one's that? That's
the one where they got Jamie Lee Curtis back.
Right. Well, the first time.
The first time, yeah.
And then you had a limited release Safe Men. On the 24th of July, the week before, you had Saving Private Ryan. I think you probably know why this movie didn't do that much money. You had
Private what?
Saving Private Ryan.
I don't know if I've seen that movie.
Starring Vin Diesel. But he's in it. You also had Mafia. That's the kind of Naked Gun like
oh, that's not good.
No, not as good as the Naked Gun series or Airplane. Disturbing Behavior, which is awesome. I will say this. I would say it's awesome. Disturbing Behavior has one of my most memorable movie-going experiences. I think I've already talked about that before. I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast.
I don't know if you've talked about it on the podcast.
So I saw Disturbing Behavior. So I was in the city for a couple months way back in 1998 for at the New York Film Academy. We were learning how to do medium shots and close-ups, which I already knew, but it was fun. But anyways, we saw Disturbing Behavior in Times Square in the Lowe's or whatever it was at that point in the Virgin Megastore down below. That's where the theater was.
Oh, I remember that.
We saw, which is a huge theater. We saw it down there, and it was opening weekend. And I mean, it must have been 600 seats. It had to be 600 seats, packed. We were in the front, and it was like the most raucous time watching a movie. And I didn't care. Like, if we were laughing, everyone was like cheering. It was awesome. It was awesome. It was awesome. The movie's not bad. I mean, it's basically Invasion of the Body Snatchers, for young adult style, I guess. But it's actually a pretty good movie. But that experience was always shaped or how I feel about that movie. So I've always liked that time. But anyways, you also had a limited release Lolita and Billy's Hollywood Screen Kiss. So those came out the week before our movie that we're talking about here, which is Negotiator, which is directed by F. Gary Gray. Mr. Gray has done the first Friday. I don't know if he did the other three or the other two.
I believe he just did the first
Did he just do the first one? Okay, he did A Man Apart, Straight Outta Compton, and he did The Fate of the Furious. And I don't know which one that is. That might be.
I think it's the one where The Rock pushes the rocket.
Is that what it is? When he slides it on the ice?
When he slides it on the ice. Also, A Man Apart, even though it's a Vin Diesel film, which I don't hate Vin Diesel, but I think A Man Apart is actually pretty good, if I remember correctly.
I put it on all. That's why I put it down here.
You liked it?
I didn't hate it.
I remember the cartel parts being like really kind of gory and really kind of realistic and gritty.
Sure.
So I remember that part of it, but I'd have to watch it again. I didn't remember Timothy Olyphant was in it, which I noticed. I was like, really?
Oh, right.
I have to watch it.
Right. I was watching Passenger 57 was on TV the other night.
Nice.
And someone was in that. I'm blanking on who it is now, but I was like a young I was like, oh my God, he's in this movie? That movie's only 85 minutes long. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
It's not a long time.
I need to revisit that. Written by James DeMonaco. He's done all the Purges, the TV show.
I know. I didn't know they were all written by the same guy. Purge 1 is so different from the other one.
I think he didn't. I don't think he wrote all of them because he gets the credit for some because they're characters based on his or the story. Okay. But I know that I think he came back and wrote a couple of them. So yeah, but his biggest things are the Purge and then the remake of Assault on Precinct 13 that they did a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
a while ago. You also had Kevin Fox as a writer. He's done a lot of TV, SVU, Law and Order SVU, and the TV show Lie to Me. Cinematography by Russell Carpenter. He won an Oscar for Titanic. He also has done Ant-Man, True Lies, which we were just doing quotes for True Lies before we started this podcast, and then Critters. Composed by Graham Revell. He has done The Crow, The Saint, the TV show Gotham, and Sin City. Produced by David Hoberman, who was nominated for an Oscar for producing The Fighter. He also has done The Muppets and Moonlight Mile. Arnon Milchan, I think it's Milchan. He was nominated for an Oscar for LA Confidential and The Revenant, two great films, and Bohemian Rhapsody, pretty good too. Edited by Christian Wagner. He has edited True Romance, Face Off, Furious 7, which I don't know what that is, and Total Recall, the 2012 remake.
Never saw it.
The remake?
The remake.
The Schwarzenegger one is so, I won't say iconic, but so just memorable, and it's full of awesome lines and awesome stuff and action that I think this Total Recall was more serious-minded.
This was more tried to be more based on the book, which I did. Yeah. I had read the original story, but I was just like, it didn't look.
It's
interesting.
It's really tough to judge this Total Recall, the Colin Farrell one, because you're already going to think about the Schwarzenegger movie,
and then when things are invariably different, you're gonna be like, yeah,
absolutely. So Samuel L. Jackson plays Danny Roman. I hope a lot of people know who Samuel L. Jackson is. He was nominated for an Oscar for Pulp Fiction. Good job, Butler. He also did Unbreakable, Jackie Brown, and Do the Right Thing. You had Kevin Spacey as Chris Sabian. He's more recently known from TV, House of Cards. Well, not TV, I guess Netflix. He also won 2 Oscars, one for The Usual Suspects, and the other for American
American
Beauty. Thanks for playing, but like, come on, you gotta come on. I'm trying to get you
Sorry.
some. You had David Morse as Adam Beck. Morse was in The Green Mile, The Long Kiss Goodnight, which I think we should put on a list because it's awesome, and Disturbia.
It's not already on the list.
Is it?
I think it's already on the list.
He's the bad guy in Disturbia, right?
Yes.
Basically, North by Northwest. No, Rear Window. Excuse me. I got my Hitchcock films mixed up. Ron Rifkin as Grant Frost, or Frosty, as he keeps called in this movie. If you didn't know he was going to be the bad guy, you should watch Alias because that's all he is in Alias, is the bad guy. That's the TV show. He's also in LA Confidential and The Majestic. John Spencer plays Chief Al Travis. He was in the West Wing TV show. He's also in The Rock and Presumed Innocent, another great film. J.T. Walsh plays Terrence Newbaum. He was in 2 movies that we did for Forgotten Cinema, which were Butler.
Red Rock West and...
Same director. Peter Berg.
Oh my God. Oh my
Linda Fiorentino.
God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
The Last Seduction.
Holy crap.
Wow. He's also in Breakdown and A Few Good Men.
Well, let me drink some more coffee real quick.
Siobhan Fallon Hogan played Maggie. She is in Men in Black, Greedy, Holes, and Forrest Gump. She's the bus driver in Forrest Gump.
Egger.
Yeah. Paul Giamatti as Rudy. He won an Oscar for
I don't know.
Cinderella Man. He was also
He
in.
won for Cinderella?
Yeah, that's what it's.
All
Unless IMDb proposed lying to me.
I doubt they are.
He's also in Sideways. He was John Adams in the TV miniseries John Adams, and he was also Pig Vomit in Private Parts. So that's quite the spectrum of. He's awesome in Private Parts, but Paul Giamatti is fantastic.
I like Paul Giamatti. Is really
He's fantastic in everything. You had Regina Taylor as Karen Roman. She's in the TV show The Unit. She's also in Lean on Me and Courage Under Fire. Michael Kudlitz as Palermo. He's in the TV show The Walking Dead. He's in Grosse Point Blank, and the upcoming show Clarice, which is the Silence of the Lambs.
Is that still coming?
It was listed. I saw it. I wrote it down because I wanted to say to you, I don't want to see that movie.
Because I know what's his face who did Hannibal was saying that he's pretty sure he can get Clarice rights back because they aren't doing anything.
Well, that doesn't mean. Well, it's
because they roll over.
Who knows? But everything's in limbo. So, but yeah, I hear you.
Listen, just
bring him back.
Bring back Hannibal.
I got you. We're there.
He's the Hannibal cast now.
Nestor Serrano was Hellman. He was in Bad Boys, Secretariat, The Day After Tomorrow. And finally, we had a Dean Norris sighting who plays Scott. He's Hank from Breaking Bad, and he's also in Starship Troopers. I always like the only reason why I put him in there is because you never really knew who he was until you saw Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you go back and you start watching all these movies from the 90s age, you're like, oh my God, he's in this too. Like, you just don't realize it. All right, Butler. So I've already kind of given you a hint of what I thought of this movie.
As per the usual.
Oh, shut up.
Every other week.
I will say there's a couple of things that we were talking real quick that I didn't know about. One was that this was going to be a Stallone movie.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
So go ahead. Why don't you pop that out?
So originally, Sylvester Stallone was going to play Chris Sabian, and Spacey was going to play Danny. So their roles were kind of reversed. Danny is Samuel L. Jackson's character. So Spacey was going to be the guy taking the hostages, and Stallone was going to try to talk him out. Which I don't know if that's the same movie.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden becomes some kind of weird Rambo clone, and it's almost like
there's probably more
Stallone's playing
action.
the sheriff.
There's probably more action on the Sabian side. Like, he's probably doing more.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
He's stopping the attack. He's fighting with Danny. It becomes a different movie.
You got a lot of like screaming Stallone falling in stuff like that.
And you'd get a really different Danny as well.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I'm glad he dropped out.
Yeah, Stallone dropped out. And once Stallone dropped out, Spacey, told the producers,
You wanted the other.
I think I'd rather have Chris Sabian's part.
Yeah.
Which worked better, I think, for the movie.
Yeah, I think so too. He's more. I think that, and this isn't comparing how he would have played Danny with how Jackson would have played Danny, but Sabian seems like somebody who should be more heady, more and kind of always thinking about, like, you're a hostage negotiator. You have to be. You can't just be always gung ho. Let's go in. Let's you know what I mean. You have to be more reserved. You have to kind of. They say like he's in charge because he's the one that has to call the shots. So I agree with that switch. Good there. The other thing was that this is based on a real life event. I didn't realize that.
No, I did not.
So this is based on it was in 1988. So 10 years prior to this movie, it was a St. Louis pension fund scandal where a policeman stole $333,000 from the fund, and then he did it. He wasn't wrongfully accused. He did it, and then he took hostage the person that exposed him. So there was a hostage situation. He wasn't a hostage negotiator, but he did work on the team.
Okay.
And then he took someone hostage, but then he gave up 15 hours later or something like that. So it kind of was, it ended.
Right.
But so it still similar. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it was kind of. Oh, it wouldn't be cool if a hostage negotiator had to talk another hostage negotiator. Yeah. But why? Well, look at this article I found from 1988. Ooh, police stealing pets. That could be
Nice,
interesting.
nice. So, why don't you tell me something that you maybe still held up for you? What?
It's just, your defeatist attitude.
No, because I don't know.
Why don't you tell me
It's not defeatist about talking about the movie. It's defeatist. I don't know where to start. That's all. Why not from the beginning?
That starts with the Warner Brothers logo, but apparently there's two versions with two different logos.
Really?
Apparently, yeah.
I didn't hear
There's
that.
one with the anniversary logo and one with the classic logo.
Oh, I didn't even catch that at all. Well, I hope I watched the right one.
Oh, that's the only change.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah,
right.
that's the only
All right,
thing.
I don't know. Did stuff hold up for you?
Stuff still holds up for.
Okay.
I still think it's a very good movie. I think it's an interesting movie. It's still a good, different kind of police crime thriller than you're used to seeing. Some stuff in the movie now that I'm watching it more as an adult, it's a bit convenient. I mean, I watched this when it came out on tape. We rented it from
What's
local
tape?
video. Right?
What's tape for the young
there
ones
used
out
to be
there?
VHS video cassette tapes where you'd take them and then you'd put these film tapes in your VCR.
Wow.
And then at the end, you'd take the VCR out. You'd have to rewind
Well, I
it.
know. I had a Betamax. What's that?
That's beyond me. But I rented it. So if it came out in 98, you probably rented it in 98 because it was summer of 98. So probably fall, winter.
Maybe
probably around Christmas time.
it came out. Yeah, I think you're in the late 90s, so stuff comes out a little quicker. Yeah.
So, I watched it when I was like that old, and at that point, it was like I was really kind of starting to get into film and writing my own little scripts and stuff. So I think at that point, it was like this was a good, cop movie. And
Sure.
I was starting to like more adult stories. So I think I really enjoyed the story for Negotiator. I enjoyed the acting in the Negotiator, and some of that stuff still holds up. But a lot of the movie has a lot of convenience. Like there's a lot of convenient plot points that happens in the movie, which I did notice.
Such as
getting to the bottom of the case. The entire end of the movie is very much like, right. So we kind of botched it. So Danny's got to get out now. He's got to solve
the ending was rewritten because the ending was initially going to be this they call it a Mexican standoff where everyone has a gun on everyone else, and they were going to have this all these 150 cops at a railway station holding their guns at Danny and Sabian, and it was just going to be this standoff at this railroad. And it's and then Spacey's like, that's been done before. Let's not do that. So this ending kind of they've created this ending. It does feel tacked on. It does feel that way because there's really no like how he escapes. So he puts on the gear. And then he meets Sabian downstairs in the boiler room, he walks right past where Sabian was. So clearly he saw him. And then he's like, you want to stay alive? Let's do exactly what I say. And the next time you see him, he's just walking out. Well, what happened? How did you get out?
Sabian probably hit him somewhere.
I guess.
He probably had one more smoke bomb.
They just didn't show it. They didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just convenient.
Yeah.
A lot of the plot points of finding the right files at the right time, like finding his partner's, finding Danny's partner's informant file right when he's talking
right
to the possible informant,
right
at that last possible second is like, oh well, good job, Rudy, but that's pretty convenient.
Yeah.
Newbaum finally suddenly going, no, it was me, and I get that he wanted to get him shot, but it was just kind of like you could have done that before or after.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of the solving of the case kind of becomes secondary to the fact that he's a hostage negotiator taking hostages.
Right.
And it's just like, well, we've got this mystery we set up, now we've got to solve it.
I do think that the mystery drives the movie in terms of discovering who killed what, what's going on. Like that does drive the movie, and I think they do a good job. And by that I mean the director and the writers do a good job of not tipping their hand too much about who is involved.
Yes.
If you've watched enough movies, you knew that it wasn't David Morse's character Beck, because he was coming on so strong to kill him, and at that point you're just like, that's a little too much.
Right, and you also get at the beginning he's very strong to kill the guy in the beginning.
He's SWAT. He wants to go in.
That's what he does.
No,
they do kind of keep it like anybody can be. They don't do like slow pans or sudden like slow lookaways. Like, I'm devious.
Right, and they do a couple of shots, close-ups of different people, different, and you don't really know who's the ringleader. You don't really know who's doing what. So they do a good job of that throughout the movie, and that kind of what keeps everyone interested in the movie is you want to know who did what. the opening, when I liked the opening scene, that's pretty hardcore that dude's gonna blow off his own daughter's face. But that I like the opening scene. The only stuff about the opening that I questioned was, are news programs really interviewing hostage negotiators? Are they really celebrities?
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, is he a superhero? I don't understand what's going on.
I didn't understand that. I mean,
and I was like, it wasn't the first time.
Yeah, it's really odd. Like, isn't there some kind of mandate in the police department? Don't talk to the press.
Probably, yeah. It should be the lawyers or whatever.
Yeah.
Or just the chief.
And is every cop movie in the 90s takes place in Chicago? Is shot in Chicago? Like it just seems like
Chicago or Pittsburgh.
Like, yeah, like it was Fugitive. Then you had, this isn't a cop movie, but the Keanu Reeves one where they have got the fusion generator. Chain reaction. There's a couple more I'm missing, but like
they just did one that took place in Chicago.
What's that?
Mr. Brooks.
Was that I thought that was St. Louis. Was that Chicago?
I thought that was Chicago.
Okay.
We say it's Chicago.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Was there tax credits in the 90s that we didn't know about?
I don't know. Oh, maybe people were just sick of doing it in Los Angeles and New York, which makes sense.
I get you. That's true. That could be.
Plus the Bruce Willis one also took place in Pittsburgh.
The one Striking Distance?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's right. Did I like that movie?
I like that movie.
Put it on the list. I remember that was like, he was like a boat. That's right. D'Onofrio's in that.
Yep.
You're right. I don't know if I like that movie. I can't remember.
What I remember of Striking.
He's putting it on the list right now.
If I don't, I'm not going to do it for 10 weeks until I edit it. I'm like, shit, I put it on the list.
So Danny gets set up, and it's. I guess that was the intent, to set him up and to set him up hardcore. But his lawyer in the beginning,
so bad.
That is terrible. I need a moment to talk to my client. Danny, you're fucked. Like,
take the deal, Danny. Danny told you he's innocent. What deal is there to
exactly?
take?
You don't even fight.
He can't name names. He doesn't know.
Yeah, I didn't get that. His lawyer was, I could understand why Danny would take somebody hostage because his lawyer wasn't helping.
He's like, yeah, you're going to jail. You're gonna have to name names.
Right.
There's no names. So what's the plea? What's the plea he's gonna take? All right, you signed this agreement. Now name some names. Easter Bunny.
And then they talk. So he takes him hostage, and when they first do the hostage stuff, and Rifkin shows up, or Frosty shows up, and he takes him, and everyone starts, bordering off the area. I love the action beats that come in, and the first thing you see is the back door of the police van opening up, and they're unloading sawhorses, like the dun 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 sawhorse, dun 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 barricades.
A perimeter that no one's gonna use.
I love that.
Wait, before we get to that, then, when he takes the hostages,
yeah,
there's something that's very 90s that happens in the film. The only like super lame, cheesy 90s thing they do,
aside of the computers that they're using,
beside the super 90s computer, is when he pulls the gun out and they zoom in on Samuel Jackson. He's got the gun and goes, "I'm not going to jail today." And it's a slow zoom on him while he's doing that. I'm just like, oh, that was so in the trailer.
That's in the trailer. Oh, no, that's definitely a trailer one. Yeah.
That shot was like Gary Gray going, "We need a trailer shot. Zoom in on Sam. Sam, say it as Sam Jackson as you can."
No, that was definitely a trailer. I can't stand the line in when they set up the little mobile station to do the negotiating, and then John Spencer, who's playing Chief Travis in the line, goes, "We're blind and he's seeing 20/20." It's like, oh God, I'm sure that line sounded great on the page, but that does not play. That was cringing.
I love that once they get their little headquarters on the barge, it is just this like who's who of every white dude that's ever played cops in films in the 80s and 90s all together.
Yep.
And what it's like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like the cop cinematic universe all coming together. Every single one of them is always white guy cop, and they're all in the same place at the same time.
Yep. Absolutely. I love the fact that when they call Sabian, or when he asks for Chris Sabian, he's like, "I only speak to Chris Sabian." And again, I think Travis does the line, "He's from the West Side. I don't know how he knows him." I'm sorry. How big is this city? They're hostage negotiators. Okay. They probably go to the same seminars. They know the same people that train the same people.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, wait, he met him in a seminar, right? But no, it turned out it wasn't that.
Well, no, they made it seem like they both, it was on the border of their, wherever they work, and he came on and took over.
But
Really? Are we really thinking that he would never see another hostage negotiator?
Yeah.
Give me a break.
They go to the same classes.
What does it matter? I don't know how he knows him. Why does that matter? Why does that matter? If he wants him because he probably heard he's good. I don't know. And let's talk about, speaking of hostage negotiators, let's talk about Farley.
The worst negotiator of all time.
He's not even a terrible negotiator. He's an awful cop. He's like a terrible cop, and like he knows it. Like you watch him doing the lines, it's like he knows he's terrible.
Danny's never taken a sick day. I've never had to do anything.
And he's like, he's got to answer the phone. He's just like, I don't know, guys. Oh God. And everyone's like staring at him like, you should have just fired him right there. You should have suspended him.
Oh man.
He is the worst cop.
It's a great scene though.
he's an awful cop.
Can I get a priest? No, you can't get a priest. Good, Father. That's good. But you don't say no.
Oh God.
But I thought that was really interesting. I really like that.
So
I'm so sorry when I am so sorry. Like
he's terrible. Even at the end, he's terrible when they come to the house and they find out that it's Frosty who did it, and they're all sitting there and he's holding his gun down. And he's just like, it's like, what are you doing there? Like you shouldn't be here. You're an awful cop. You're an awful cop. Just you need to retire.
He's the only cop not wearing armor or any like suit or anything. He's just wearing a t-shirt with his name badge clipped to his pocket protector.
And then they have the FBI guys show up.
Oh, they're just right at a Die Hard. I hate those.
They're
guys.
at Die Hard. They're so black too. They're just so like ugh.
Let's get government guys that look like government guys.
But let's talk about the fact that they're wearing Fidelio headsets over around their neck throughout the. You didn't catch that?
I did, yeah.
So the headsets they're wearing are the old headsets that we used to have at the theater for
that's right.
for impaired hearing impaired. It's like I'm watching it going, those are absolutely the headsets. They're not because they had the little thing on the back that you could pick up the signal for the infrared.
Yep.
It's like, who did that? Like what? Who did this? Did you go to a theater and find these and like, well, these are the FBI guys ones.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
They get special. They're listening to someone else giving them information.
Those are headsets from movie theaters. I'm telling you right now, absolutely 100%. Get somebody on the phone that did the Negotiator production design. Those are headsets from a movie theater.
I love the gigantic cell phone the guy pulls out. The FBI agent pulls out.
Classic.
Where were you hiding that a scene ago?
So you obviously like the one big line that you were saying before we started this.
You want my blood, take my blood.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this. Nobody hears that line. Nobody hears him yelling 20 floors up on a building where the helicopters, choppers going, it's loud, it's windy. No one hears him saying these lines. I mean, I know you love the line, but he's telling nobody. Nobody hears that line.
It's a movie, man.
Nobody hears the line.
He's playing to the audience. I love that line. He wants them to do it.
You're absolutely right. He's playing to the audience, but nobody can hear what he's saying. It's like in Shazam when he's fighting the bad guy's monologuing and he's just like, I can't hear you. You're like,
I forgot that part.
Yeah. It's like that. It's like he's monologuing and it's for nothing, for no reason. Explain.
Oh no, he's got his radio out as well. Like,
so is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
I take it back.
People on the
then.
ground are listening as well because one of the reporter ladies has the
I take it back.
police officer's
I take
radio.
it back then.
Probably because she promised to date him or something like that. I'll go out with you. Give me this,
What?
This radio.
I didn't realize you were writing subplots to the Negotiator.
She's holding the police officer's radio, and he's just like, she's got it on her clipboard.
Okay. Oh, that's good then. I you know what? I take it back. I take it all back.
So they're actually listening to the whole thing, and that's after that. That's when he makes his big speech. He comes back out of that room afterward, does his whole big speech, and like, turn to channel 3, because they're hearing it on the news.
Okay. My bad. My mistake.
So they're not hearing him shout out the 20-floor window, but he's broadcasting everything.
I got you.
Those are some bad guys. Like going through the window, breaching at that point is just such a stupid idea. Hey, we can't see anything. We got to breach.
Oh, when they're coming down because the building's probably like what, 40 floors?
There's definitely a bunch of floors above where he is as well.
Right. Well, they shot everything outside in Chicago, but the internal affairs office where they most of the stuff takes place, most of the action takes place, it was shot in a studio in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And what they did was they had a huge poster. I have a 160 by 40 foot poster of the Chicago, like what you would see out the windows.
Gotcha, yep.
That hung outside the window for during the scene. Nice. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. You got to control that environment. You're not going to do that in a real, because they destroy that office.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now it takes, and I paused that so I know it takes 43 minutes in the movie when you finally get Chris Sabian to come out.
Sure.
Did you like that? Did you not like that? Did you mind that?
I think I didn't mind it, but in order to set up the mystery of the fund being stolen from his buddy getting killed,
Right.
the guys turning on him, in order for you to know about Danny's group circle of friends and the type of person he is, you kind of need that, because you have to introduce Danny, you got to introduce everybody else, you got to introduce the mystery. Sabian coming in, I mean, he comes in and then he never leaves, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if you have him at some point somewhere in the movie, maybe he's at the retirement party, maybe you know what I mean, like maybe he knows somebody there, that might have been probably a little bit better, just to kind of show. I think them having a relationship might have been better, or maybe they don't like each other. Maybe how about that? Maybe they get into a fight at that. What was it? Was it a retirement party? No, it was like a birthday party, right? Or celebration. How many years on the Ford? Yeah. Some kind of anniversary party. Maybe have him. Maybe they get into an argument about something. I don't know. Maybe they just don't like each other's style, but he respects him. That probably would have been better. I don't mind it how it is now, but I also wouldn't mind having him somewhere in the beginning of the movie.
Gotcha.
That probably would play a little bit better. It connects him more to everybody there. You know, because he at the end is just like, I'm going to help you. And while that's great, because that's what you need to happen at the end of the movie, there's really you don't know any motivation on why he would help him.
I think that the situation's out of control, and at that point, he doesn't trust the cops and he doesn't like the cops. At this point, he's lost. Somebody's gotten killed. Yeah, at first he thinks Danny killed the cop, but Newbaum's definitely dead. So at that point, he's just like, well, you've ruined my 5-year nobody dying thing.
Right.
So screw you. Why do you keep trying to kill him? You keep shooting. Like, clearly go, oh, Danny fired first, but they could all hear that the machine gun fire went first.
Right.
So it's like, he knows that it was, the SWAT team, regardless of whether it was Morse's character going, yeah, go do it.
Back, yeah.
So I think at that point, he's just on the edge. He just doesn't know who to trust.
I think it would be, but here's the thing: he's a cop, so you're not going to go against your boys in blue, quote unquote.
That's the other thing.
It's not as
Danny is a boy in blue.
That's what I'm saying. Not as easy to go. Like, it's going to be. I think he goes a little too easy if he's an FBI negotiator, and Danny knows him from some other way, and he calls him in because whatever.
Right.
There, he's quote unquote, and now he's an outsider. So now he doesn't know the people they act like Chicago is. Nobody knows anybody. These people would cross paths at some point. They would know through, rumor and innuendo from people in the force about other people. You know what I mean? Like, oh, SWAT on the West Side is terrible. That kind of thing. Little things.
He should be flown in from another big city, like Detroit or something.
Right,
somewhere close by. And it's like, we got to fly him in and like give him one. Instead of 20 minutes, you get an hour to fly Chris Sabian here. Right.
And maybe he's doing it on the phone, whatever. But no, I
give it somebody bigger.
Right. I'm not saying that I don't like the way it is in the movie. I think it's fun. It works and it plays. I just think it maybe there might have been a stronger way to use Chris Sabian and or their relationship, or just, his outsider influence within that room.
Gotcha. Yeah.
The way we're talking about, but that's a different movie. So whatever. So when they remake this 20 years from now, maybe they'll do that.
I really didn't mind the 43 minutes. I was just surprised. I was like, wow, it's been 43 minutes. But like you said, you need time to build up the case, build up Danny, build up the cops and stuff like that in their relationship. I just wondered if you would have a take on that, because there were a couple other times where we've done movies where it's taken this long or longer sometimes to get to your second character.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wow, that's a big buildup.
Well,
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think it works here, but sometimes it doesn't.
Well, all the poster art and all the promotion for the movie basically,
put
hypes
side by
up.
Side.
Yeah, hypes the two of them. But it's Danny's movie.
Oh, yeah. It's a Samuel L. Jackson
right.
movie.
So it's not really Sabian's film. He's in support of Jackson in this movie, Kevin Spacey. So it's just, I think that we're putting him on equal footing just because of the promotion for it, which I understand because you want to sell tickets.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's another reason I really like this film, is that it's really Samuel L. Jackson's movie. And he so often plays, awesome characters, but he's so often playing second fiddle or side by side with someone else. He doesn't so he carries a movie sometimes just because of his gravitas and you like Samuel L. Jackson. But so seldom do you see a movie where he's the negotiator. He is the character of this movie. It's his story. It's his character. It's everything is him. And I think that's another reason I really like this movie is because it really shows off, what Sam Jackson can do if he's given his own vehicle.
Just I don't like the hair.
I didn't get it.
Off-putting. Like he dyed it or it's fake or whatever. It's the color. It's off-putting. It's fine. You get used to it 10 minutes in.
It's
But
the 90s. So
no, I get it. I get it. That's just, somebody. I mean, I'm wondering if he's like, yo, I'm going to do my hair like this. I'm like, okay. Like, I mean, you're really going to tell. Because he's hot off of Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction is 94. And his star is on the rise big time.
Is this before or after Coach Carter?
Coach Carter was 90. No, Coach Carter was 2000, I think.
Okay.
But this is when he's basically, he can pick whatever script he wants.
I mean, he probably still can, but yeah.
No. I know.
Yeah.
I'm saying the start of it.
Oh, right. Yeah, this is the start
I mean,
of,
he was doing a bunch of stuff. Obviously, I just said he was going to do the right thing. So that was what, late 80s?
Yeah, he's been doing stuff for a long time.
But when he was in Pulp Fiction, that's when
90, I think.
Yeah. When he got nominated, it was just like boom. He could do whatever he wants. I'm sure he could do. Like you said, he could do whatever he wants now. I mean, I get why you're doing Nick Fury because it's an easy paycheck and you work maybe 1 week out of the year or whatever it is.
Sure, yeah.
I get it. That's fine. But yeah, so the hair was just like, oof. Like it just doesn't, I was just like, okay.
I saw, I was just like, wait, is it graying? Is it
No, it
blonde?
was like, it's like blonde brown. It's
blonde,
dyed.
right?
Yeah,
It's a
it's
weird
red
color.
or something like that. Yeah, that's
like
fine.
Go red, go blonde, go black, go bald. What color is this? I don't know what color this is.
Do you remember when, I don't know if he did it for a movie. Do you remember when Clooney bleached his hair? George Clooney. I don't know if he did it for a movie or not. And it was just like, whoa, what's happening there? Like,
Yeah.
it was just, I get it. It's fine. Or like when Tom Cruise did it for Interview with the Vampire.
Oh, he actually.
You didn't know that?
I thought it was a wig.
Oh, no, maybe. No, I thought he did. Oh, maybe
wow,
it was a
okay.
wig. I don't know. I gotta check that out. But no, everyone was all ticked off that he had blonde hair.
What's his name? Zac Efron just did that.
Oh, for what?
It's if he did it for a role, it still hasn't come out.
Whatever.
But it was like he bleached it white. It's just like
It's all white?
Not anymore, but it was for
All
like
right.
a year or two. So
That's fine.
that's weird.
I don't mind it. I've dyed my hair before. I know you probably haven't.
I did what's it called? The tips.
Yeah, frosted tips.
back in the 90s because you had to.
You had to? I mean, you didn't have to.
You didn't have to, but who wouldn't?
I dyed my hair blue.
You did. That was not the 90s.
No, that was a couple of years ago. A year ago? Whatever. I'll do it again.
Challenge.
I have no problem dyeing my hair. I don't know why we're getting on this, but yeah.
I like the going back to the movie.
No, let's talk about hair dye. All right, go ahead.
Samuel Jackson, I think, only says motherfucker one time in this movie.
Well, it's a PG-13. Oh, no, it's rated R.
It is rated R.
Which part?
He goes when he's talking to Farley. Or no, he doesn't say it. Never mind. Rudy says it. Samuel Jackson doesn't say it at all. It's a little disappointing.
Right.
Rudy says, "Don't say no more, motherfucker," and he throws the thing. I like Rudy a lot. Rudy's funny.
Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, I think he does a really good job with that role.
Yeah. Well, Paul Giamatti's good.
That's the thing is, like,
Yeah.
I remember Rudy. Like, I remembered most of this movie. I didn't remember which ones were the bad cops, like, other than Frosty, obviously.
Frosty.
Which I didn't mind it when I watched it.
They
Back
kept
in the
saying
day.
it. They kept
But
saying
then
it.
he kept saying Frosty so often. I was just like, just at least once or twice call him by his real name because it's really annoying.
Mhm.
Hey, Frosty. Hey, Frosty. 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 Shut up. But I think Paul Giamatti, like, I remember him very well in this movie because his lines are so well done. He
Right.
really seems like this nervous guy trying to, like, get in the conversation, be Danny's friend, be on his side.
Mhm.
At first because he just wants to not get shot. And then as it goes on, because he starts to root for Danny.
So we talked about how the ending was tacked on.
Yeah.
Do you like the ending? Do you like the
I
whole
don't-
Shane aspect when he shoots him?
I don't mind the ending. I just think it's a bit rushed. I think it's all a bit like, we gotta end this.
Yeah,
We're
oh,
at
yeah.
2 hours. We gotta put a capper on this.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when we do a podcast and we're like, how long are we on time? Oh, we gotta wrap it up. Let's go.
So you're waiting for Samuel Jackson to be like, why do you think this is forgotten? No.
Yeah, that's what kind of reminded me of just like the writers are just on page 125. And
Well,
going,
we
we got to get them.
This is a rewrite. So, or this is so who knows? Like, I don't even know.
If it was more organic.
Right,
at the end,
right, yeah.
right. But yeah, I don't mind the fake out. I like that they don't conveniently find the floppy disk with the right information.
So it's just a bluff. Yeah.
The whole thing's just a bluff. That's more interesting than them going, we're at the house. We found it. Don't shoot. I got it.
Yeah, but they're not going to get. Here's the thing, though. They're not going to get convicted because there's no proof. Circumstantial. Just because he said it doesn't mean it's true. They're going to get off. Absolutely going to get off. They'd have to find other ways to prove it. But also, Danny's going to jail.
Oh, I was thinking the same thing at the end. I'm like, there's no way. He still took hostages. He still assaulted people.
He took hostages, and you could make a case that, not saying that they will, but you can make a case that he could get involuntary manslaughter because his hostage situation led to the death of Niebaum. Like, Niebaum doesn't get shot if Danny doesn't go in there and hold him hostage and create the situation that had happened.
Yeah, but you also have the fact that he was shot all in the chest, that it was definitely assassination style. On purpose, he was murdered. It wasn't an accident.
You're absolutely right. But if I'm the lawyer, which I'm not a lawyer, but if I'm the lawyer, I'm arguing that, well, Niebaum took the money. He wasn't going to blab. He already got paid off. It only when Danny took him hostage that he revealed his quote unquote secret. Then he became somebody who was dangerous, who needed to be put down. I'm just saying.
But you can also make the case that if somebody did their due diligence and actually investigated the case,
sure,
Niebaum would still be in that situation where he would be targeted and possibly assassinated.
You're absolutely right.
But regardless of that, Danny still cost millions upon millions of taxpayer dollars to do this crime. He still assaulted an officer to begin with.
Yep.
2 officers.
He wasn't an officer when he did it.
But he beat it. He was taken off. He's a civilian.
Yep.
You know, and he wasn't carrying a firearm. He disarmed another guy. But
right. But still, it's of his own volition. So the police isn't liable for his behavior.
Right.
So yeah, no, he's in trouble.
There's still endangerment charges going on.
I mean, he's not going to go to jail.
Maybe Rudy's dropping the charges, but Maggie ain't dropping those charges.
Yeah, he's not going to jail, but he probably would be able to be a cop again.
No. Would he really want to be a cop again at that point?
What about Sabian? Would Sabian get in trouble too? Probably. He's a hostage negotiator. He's not supposed to be doing what he did.
He's still negotiating and trying to save the lives of the hostages, despite that everything was going against him trying to kill the hostages.
He would get
the feds would probably try to stop him, like try to get him.
Well, also that's the thing too. It's a federal building, so he's getting federal charges against him. And Sabian might not get suspended or might not get fined, but he might get not rewarded, but basically promoted so that he's no longer in that position, but he's out of that position.
Oh,
you know
what I mean?
Like
a bad promotion.
I like how we're breaking down the
like an Admiral Kirk kind of thing.
Right.
You do too much. We're gonna promote you. Get out of a ship.
Why'd you gotta make it about Star Trek?
Because we haven't mentioned Star Trek in a while. But I'm just trying to think of upward promotions where people didn't want them.
Yeah, no, I got obviously.
For sure. But I don't think Sabian would mind that after that. I think this is the kind of case where you're just like, I'm kind of set. I'll go ski with my family now.
Oh, speaking of that, I was just gonna bring that up. Speaking of Sabian and that, does he love his wife? Like, clearly, like
she's on the daughter's side.
Yeah.
She said you look wide.
And he's
wide's a terrible.
And he's like laughing and his wife's upset and I thought maybe it's like a stepmom thing, like it's his girlfriend, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or maybe it was that kind of thing, but no, it's like that's straight up their daughter, his wife, and he's just kind of like,
well, I think he just finds the whole situation ridiculous, so that's why he's laughing. Like she's being a little over dramatic.
Right.
I do like that's how it began. Like he can't talk his daughter off the phone or his wife out of the room. I kind of like that beginning. But what I don't like is his constant changing of clothes. He goes from his blue ski shirt to a gray sweater, or sweatshirt, to a blue button-up that he gets randomly and just suddenly has in the movie.
I don't know. They never really.
Where the hell did you get that blue button-up?
Yeah, I like that he shows up with a ski outfit on, but I was just like, you're gonna wear that the whole movie?
That's what I was like. The poster doesn't show you with the ski outfit.
Can somebody give me some cooler clothes, please?
You're gonna have three clothes changes.
Farley, what are you doing? Go down to JCPenney. Get me some clothes. Okay, man. All right. Anybody want some donuts? God, he sucks as a cop. It's the worst cop.
No, I don't want donuts. Don't say no. I don't. The other thing that I find weird in the movie is at the very beginning of the movie, we're supposed to believe it's getting colder in Chicago. It's like around wintertime or fall.
Yeah. Yes.
But the beginning of the film gives you this very orange lighting, outside, inside the apartment. It's very Los Angeles, middle of the summer kind of night.
You're talking about when they're negotiating.
when
the
Danny's
beginning.
negotiating
Okay.
the father out of killing his daughter.
Right.
It just looks like we're supposed to be in a heat wave. Yeah, everybody's sweating, everybody's on edge, but the lighting is orange, the lighting is yellow,
Right.
windows are open. It's just like, okay, so it's summertime, but then they shoot the next scene and Danny's talking about how cold it is outside.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a really weird way to light that scene compared to the rest of the film. And even when they're outside going to like the federal building or you're at Danny's house in the daylight, it's all gray and cold. But that one scene is very warm, lit and colored, very, very warm, like a Los Angeles cop movie.
That makes sense.
I thought that was very weird.
Maybe they shot in a different location.
Maybe, but I still
Like-
don't understand why you you color it orange.
Well, because it's that's true. That's maybe it's just I mean, it does. Well, the whole rest of the movie takes place at night almost.
Almost, but you get those few day scenes in between after the party.
Right.
And you're supposed to believe it's cold, it's cloudy outside. It's I think it's mentioned that it's getting close to winter or you're in winter closing on spring, one of the two.
Well, I mean, you got to think that from the time that he gets in trouble to when his lawyers, you
think between the funeral to that it's
I mean, you got to, they're probably making a case for him to kind of go, because it's not going to happen right away.
Right. So you think it's been a few months
Yeah.
in between? All right.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm reading here, like, so they shot in Chicago and they shot in LA. I guess the police station was in LA. That's probably indoors. Maybe they shot everything outside at night in Chicago, but everything else was LA. So they might have done that scene in LA. But still, I hear you.
Yeah, the lighting is just.
But there, I mean, I think you definitely have to think that there's a gap between when his partner's killed and when they knock on that door to investigate his house.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure when he goes outside, even in the party, they're blowing on their hands and when
Oh, you're
Nate's
right,
killed, the
yeah.
guy's wearing the big coat.
No,
and
you're
it's
right.
cold.
You're right. They're outside. Yep, you're right. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just
I mean, it looked cool. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
they were just like, "Hey, this looks cool. Like it's like an action movie kind of."
right.
And then we'll tone it down. But I don't know.
So I don't think this movie is forgotten so much. Maybe. What do you think?
I think it's kind of forgotten. I think when it
In-
first came out, it
in
used to
what
be
way?
all over TV. People you'd always hear people talk about it. It would be up there with the cop movies. Now I think that it's got Kevin Spacey in
Oh,
it.
come on, man.
And I think that
Listen.
you don't see it on the Netflix rotation or anything like. It's not available streaming.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when people talk about, hey, what's your top 5 cop movies? This is
This is
on it.
not top 5.
And I don't think
No,
it's on it for me
no.
either. But I think it's a very good movie. I think it has a lot of good, interesting points to it. And I don't think it's not a cop movie that you see normally. Like the plot and the way the movie moves and paces itself is different than most movies, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it's mostly one location. It's a cop movie, but it kind of puts it on par with like a phone booth or what was it? Something
Hold
else
on.
takes place
The
in
Colin Farrell movie, Phone Booth?
like movies that like thrillers that take place in one location.
Oh, okay.
There are two. The phone booth and something else came out early 2000s that was like one location, and it was like a crime thriller, not like a horror movie.
I don't know.
I had it in the back of my head and I can't remember, but I think that kind of separates itself from other cop movies as well, where it's like the killer's on, like even The Fugitive, person's on the run. You have multiple locations, a big manhunt. This is it's mostly acting, less action.
The Fugitive is fantastic.
What's up?
Fugitive is fantastic.
Well, I'm not
I hear
saying
you.
this
No,
is,
I know.
I'm not
I know what you're
put
saying.
down in The Fugitive. I'm just saying a lot of those kind of movies have multiple locations and it's
Right.
like a man on the run kind of a thing.
Where you think this movie is very good, I think this movie is good. I don't love it as much as you do, but I don't, like I said, it's not like I hate it. Like I enjoyed watching it. It's 220, but it didn't feel 220. It was because I said the mystery and the
You need
idea-
that setup at
Right.
the beginning, yeah.
And I don't know if this movie is affected by quote unquote Kevin Spacey. I don't know why I'm quoting the fact that Kevin Spacey's in this movie. I think two things can be mutually exclusive. He can be a fantastic actor and be in stuff that you enjoy, and he could be somebody who obviously has done some stuff that's inappropriate and he's, in trouble for that with good reason.
Right.
They both can be correct. So I don't think you should. I mean, he's been in some movies that are really good, and he is really good as an actor.
Oh no, that
doesn't excuse.
on my list,
and
yeah.
no. I'm saying not for you. I'm saying that doesn't excuse everything that comes, in real life, quote unquote, not in the movies. I mean, this podcast is about what's on film.
Right.
So I hope that his older films are not being like, oh, screw that movie. Like, oh, screw LA Confidential because of Kevin Spacey. You can't. You can't be that way.
Right.
But again, I'm not condoning everything else. God, no.
Right. I do think that kind of shapes like maybe why it's not on streaming services and stuff like
Sure.
that. It's like, oh, Kevin Spacey, I don't know if we're going to buy this to put on a streaming service.
Right.
Does that make us look bad? Because he's on the covers of stuff.
Right. But I can go through, and I get that.
Right.
I understand people's hesitancy for that kind of stuff. But if you start breaking down every person that you love in movies, I'll show you some people that have done pretty horrible things, just as horrible as Spacey, and they're past. Now, I'm not talking about up now. I'm talking about like 40s, 50s stuff, like when people got away with stuff because, people hit it or people, they'll ruin their image and, like that kind of stuff. And we're not all saints. But again, I'm not condoning any of that. I just don't think it shouldn't affect somebody like watching and liking The Negotiator, or movies that he's in, or movies that anybody's in that you don't like, or they did something that's horrible. And I mean, I get it. There's something like I'll watch something and I'll not with him, but any person, and I'll see something and I'll be like, that guy's not a good guy. I like this movie, but that guy's not a good guy. Like stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, that's like the first time he pops up in the movie. I'm like, Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, I know.
And then they kind of, just watch the movie. It's like, everybody gives Tom Cruise crap about being a Scientologist, but then you watch his movies.
Yeah. Well, what happened was when he was going quote unquote crazy, he had fired his PR person, and then his sister took over, and it was just like they weren't reining him in. Like they were just like, yeah, go ahead, have fun. And then it was just like, okay, we need to pull that back.
When we said have fun, we didn't mean have that much fun.
We mean we were crazy. But this is also 98. This is also when Kevin Spacey is blowing up as well. I mean, 99 is when he does American Beauty, but this is when he starts, on the rise with all his movies, Usual Suspects, everything's coming out. And 97 was LA Confidential. So he had a series of like every movie he was in was great. Then he did K-Pax, and then I know you like K-Pax. That's why I said that.
That's why I said that. But I also think that 98 people my age, like in their 30s, are like way too like I watched this movie, but I was kind of a weirdo kid. The people that were my age weren't watching The Negotiator, and people that are my age now probably haven't seen gone back and watched.
I agree with that. Yeah,
and it's like you want a good crime thriller, watch The Negotiator. I also think that other than like obviously there's way too many cop shows.
Yeah, on TV.
I'm not a big,
but they sell. People watch them.
I think they all suck.
Whoa!
I don't think there are very many good cop shows.
Well, you need to watch Law and Order: Criminal Intent. But go on.
They're all procedurals.
Law and Order: Criminal Intent. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Criminal Intent.
Anyway, you don't see a lot of these as like crime thrillers as films anymore.
Sure.
They're not too many.
You mean these type of movies?
These type of movies, and I think that this is one you can go back to and watch and that you haven't seen, and it's pretty good.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
I think that's more why it's forgotten. Not that the people who didn't see it don't remember it and like it, but
tastes change too. So this movie's probably been there, done that kind of thing in terms of getting it made and people seeing it. Like you said, you don't like cop show procedurals and stuff like that, so you're perfectly okay with blowing over Criminal Intent, which is awesome. But anyways, but I'll also say that this is for people that only know Sam Jackson, and I tell you right now, there are people that only know Sam Jackson as Nick Fury.
No, screw those guys.
Exactly. like listen, you got to go back and start watching some of his older stuff because he's more than just Nick Fury.
Do you really think that?
Okay, so Iron Man is 2008.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 20 right now, right?
Yeah.
So let's say you were born in 2005, 2000. Okay.
Okay.
So you're 20 years old now. Okay, a 20-year-old. You didn't watch any Samuel L. Jackson movies up until you're 8 years old.
Yeah, I can't.
So you're 20 years old now, and you only know Sam Jackson as Nick Fury.
But I think Sam Jackson is such a name, such a character in and of itself that when you see Nick Fury, you think Sam Jackson.
Not cinephiles. Not cinephiles. Not people that like movies, that go see movies all the time.
I get that.
People that love, I'm telling you, there's 19 to about 23, 24 who only know him primarily from, they probably never knew he was in Do the Right Thing. We're probably talking about suburban white dudes, but but like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they only know him as Nick Fury.
Oh man, these people need to get slapped.
Well, not slapped, but I mean, they need to be introduced to Sam Jackson from the 90s and the 80s. And just, he is in a ton of stuff. Right. A ton of stuff. They probably don't even know he was in Goodfellas.
Oh, man, these people.
All right. So, all right. So, yeah. So, Negotiator, check it out, please. Or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not getting any money off of that. So who
No,
cares?
you got to rent it. It's not available for streaming.
Oh, that's
You got to
right.
take the $2.99 hit.
Or just go. I guarantee you, it's in the Walmart $5.99 bin. Maybe not a Blu-ray. Is it a Blu-ray? Did they have it on Blu-ray?
I only ever had the VHS. I had to rent it.
All right. I'm gonna go to Wikipedia, Butler, and I'm gonna find out if it's
there
got
was a
Blu-ray.
Blu-ray.
And while I do that, tell everyone where they can find us.
You can find us at ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com or ForgottenEntertainment.com, as we are part of the Forgotten Entertainment family. We release episodes every Wednesday. You can find us wherever podcasts are available as well. So wherever you're listening to this or wherever your friends are, that's where you can listen to this podcast. We're on the social medias at Forgotten Cinema Pod or Forgotten Cinema, where we post things every weekday, including some awesome commercials. We think they're awesome every Thursday
Whoa.
for your enjoyment.
So Wikipedia failed me.
Nice.
It is. It's on Amazon it's on Amazon Blu-ray for $9.99. So when you're listening to this episode, if you want to go buy it on Amazon Blu-ray, go to our blog post, because on the bottom of the blog post, you can actually click on the Amazon link to go buy it. And then that's how you can support us, by using the affiliate link down below. So every blog post now has the little Blu-ray icon, has the icon on the bottom where you can buy the movie. So go buy it on Amazon, and that'll support us. And then you can buy it for, right now it's $10. And we're doing this podcast episode when? October 2nd. You're not listening to this probably sometime in December.
Right.
So perfect holiday gift. I'm sure it might go down.
Should I add a cash register sound effect right now?
Prime's free one day. I mean, what are you people waiting for here? Negotiator, Blu-ray, $9.99. Let's go, people.
You can't negotiate a lower price.
Oh boy. On that note, join us next week when we're going to be doing a movie from 1988. We're going back 10 years to a movie that Butler's never heard of called DOA.
No clue what this movie is.
Starring Dennis Quaid, and is Meg Ryan in that movie? I think
Don't ask me, man.
Meg Ryan is in this movie.
She cheated on.
That has nothing to do with DOA.
Are you sure?
Well, anyways, we're doing DOA. That's next week. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema.
How about how he asked for food and blankets?
And then they got them. They got blankets. I don't know what food they got, but they got blankets.
They got nothing.
Yeah. They want his blood, apparently.
You want my blood?